To everyone who hates when I win, the winged victory came to the Louvre in pieces, and people still line up to see her. That despite my flaws, and despite my cracks and my breaks, and there are many of them, that at every premiere, people will wait in line to see.
Disney removing Snow White from the shelves causes Rachel Zegler to collapse. Officially, Rachel Zegler has reached her lowest point. Even Hollywood insiders were taken aback by Disney's decision to silently remove Snow White from theaters and bookstores nationwide, as if it had never been released. Theaters are vacant, billions are lost, and now it's said that Disney is completely abandoning any more woke reboots. The actual meltdown, though? Rachel is here. She's crumbling under the strain of months of criticism and dismal box office results. She's losing it on live streams, losing it in interviews, and acknowledging that her career may never fully recover. Why is Disney acting as though Snow White never happened, and what went wrong? Now, let's get started with the video. Now, theater owners began to protest against their contractual obligation to screen Snow White on a certain number of screens. They begged Disney to allow them to finish the concert early after reporting very poor attendance, especially for weekend performances. They frequently didn't wait. Literally whatever else they could show was used in its place. Then the internet went down in a flash. A brief video from inside a Snow White performance was shared by a fan. The theater is empty when the camera moves around it. Not simply a small group of people. Empty. On one hand, you could count the number of people present. The atmosphere is less like a Disney blockbuster and more like a postponed school assembly.
Okie dokie. I am walking into Snow White, 2 p.m., now seating. Let's see how empty it is. I hope it's off the woke we go. I hope. Sound like I hear a couple of people. One, two. Okay. 2.
Struggling as well. To generate demand, limited quantities of Snow White dolls, t-shirts, and mugs were distributed. However, shelves remain full months later. Disney is not even allowed to give away the items. And that leads us to the individual at the heart of it all. Zegler, Rachel. The punching bag of the internet. Projects are being scrapped, co-stars are allegedly betraying one another, and Disney's entire live-action strategy is in jeopardy because what's going to happen next is more than just a loss at the box office. It's a breakdown captured on camera, career sabotage, and public betrayal. The behind-the-scenes cracks began to show as Snow White's public collapse occurred and Rachel Zegler's situation worsened as a result. Gal Gadot was the first. Gal didn't specifically blame Rachel in an interview, but she also didn't stand up for her either. In response to a question concerning the criticism, Gal noted a discrepancy between what the movie offered and what viewers had anticipated. She referred to it as a corporate-level misalignment. Interpretation? I didn't do this.
Gal delivered the following. The most important thing when you are working on a film is teamwork. And when you have characters like the Evil Queen and Snow White, you expect teamwork to play a role in the creative process when you are trying to put something special together. We didn't really have teamwork, and there were many setbacks that we had to deal with during this entire process. And I just found that to be very exhausting.
Then the actual moment arrived. Gal responded, "I'll talk about that when I feel comfortable." When asked if she would elaborate on her encounter with Rachel, just one sentence. 10,000 rumors.
Further, I think those that follow me will be satisfied when I am more comfortable to share more details on the specifics, but for now, it's something I feel is not the right time to jump into.
That was instantly interpreted by fans as proof that Gal had repressed her emotions out of professionalism and that the set was chaotic. Now though, she herself is implying that the reality is far more complicated than it appears. Andrew Burnap, Rachel's other co-star, failed to attend the premiere at all. Nor for publicity, nor for advertising, not at all. This is where things start to get crazy. Rachel has already alluded to the possibility that his scenes will be deleted. At a press conference, she reportedly stated, all of Andrew's scenes could get cut. And, well, they were.
One of those things that I think everyone's going to have their assumptions about what it's actually going to be, but it's really not about the love story at all, which is really, really wonderful. And whether or not she finds love along the way is anybody's guess until 2024. All of Andrew's scenes could get cut. Who knows? It's Hollywood, baby.
Imagine working on a Disney film for months only to have your lead co-star publicly inform the media that you might not be chosen. It makes sense why Andrew did not walk the red carpet. In addition to being anxious, the atmosphere underlying the scenes was poisonous. Then Disney took the most significant action to date. Their upcoming major live-action adaptation, Tangled, was formally canceled. Silently. Suddenly. Not a trailer. Not a hint. Not a word. Simply gone. Disney hasn't mentioned Snow White as the cause, but making the connections doesn't require much work. According to early reports, Rachel Zegler was the leading candidate to play Rapunzel in Tangled, the upcoming billion-dollar franchise revival. Disney, however, obviously didn't want to take that chance again after everything that transpired with Snow White. Recasting wasn't the only thing involved. It has to do with strategy. Another huge budget, more fan expectations, and an entire campaign centered around a character the internet was already sick of defending would have all been necessary for Tangled. The harm wasn't worth it for Disney. And you don't make that kind of choice unless you think your lead is contributing to the issue. What we're witnessing right now is a complete industry rejection, not just a bad film. Actors leaving. Future projects are being canceled by studios. Directors avoid taking responsibility. What about Rachel? Still in the middle of everything. However, that pales in comparison to what transpired next. Because Rachel Zegler found herself sitting in one of the most empty cinemas of her career after months of promoting the film, going on press tours, and assuring fans that the theaters would be packed. It was also captured on camera. Rachel Zegler was sure before Snow White came out. Overconfident. Fans would wait in line to see the film. She assured them that it would be revolutionary, that viewers would accept the novel idea. She reaffirmed her claim that her rendition of Snow White will correct the original's flaws. But what's the truth? They couldn't have been more dissimilar. When online criticism began to mount, Rachel sent a tearful video to Instagram in which she seemed to be fighting back tears. It was uncooked. Her fans were abandoning her. Her press interviews were being delayed by the internet. That audacious pre-release excitement abruptly changed to damage management.
Everyone who hates when I win, the winged victory came to the Louvre in pieces, and people still line up to see her. And I can only hope that despite my flaws, and despite my cracks and my breaks, and there are many of them, that at every premiere and everything I do, people will wait in line to see.
Then the moment in the theater arrived. Rachel arrived at a showing of her own film with flowers in hand, grinning, and posting as though it were a party. However, the camera was honest. Theme. With captions like Snow White and the 7 empty seats, fans began reposting it. Some made jokes about her bringing flowers to a funeral. She appeared to be hosting a press tour for a ghost town, according to some. Then the figures appeared. Snow White failed to make even $100 million at the box office in the United States, even with Disney's entire marketing apparatus in place. Even if it is release stern. Rachel's defiance of tradition was not being praised. She was held accountable for destroying it. However, one of the more surprising sources of the fatal blow was Minecraft. Indeed, Minecraft. Weeks after Snow White, the live-action Minecraft film debuted and quickly became an immediate box office blockbuster. What some deemed too childish or silly ended up being just what viewers desired: fun, low-key, and truly created for the fans. In its first weekend of release, Minecraft blew past Rachel's Snow White, which was just making it to triple digits. No lectures on politics. No dispute. Only zombies, blocks, and Jack Black shouting into a microphone. Disney's most costly princess reboot appeared to be a parody of itself all of a sudden. Industry insiders also claim that Hollywood took note. There were rumors that studios were suddenly reevaluating, or any more reboots. The most important question in Rachel Zegler's career is now facing the same person who was previously heralded as a rising star. Will she recover? Or did this film end a chapter before it had really begun? And even while Rachel was rushing to get better, another animated roast was already imminent. This time, from the one studio that hasn't released yet, but will without a ought. South Park's roast was brutal. Keep an eye out for the next one. See you later.